Implementing group policy. Now first, what is a group policy first? Group policy is actually used to give or used to assign security permissions or restriction for users and groups and computers. That means when we are configuring the domain environment, so how these what these users and groups can do, and how the machines, how the computers, client computers is going to be work or used. So all those things we can define, all those settings, all those permission settings in the group policy. So group policy is basically for management our domain. That means we create the domain. That is why we create the domain, because we wanted to manage the domain from centralized location. So this group policy help us to manage the whole domain by implementing the restriction policies or granting some permission to other users or computers. So these are the policies we define for users, groups and computers, or the objects of the Active Directory, so that it will decide that what those users and group can do and what they cannot do. So it is very important because it is used to manage the whole domain objects. Now first, in group policy there is a configuration manager. Configuration management, that means it is a centralized approach to applying one or more changes to more than one user or computer. So this configuration management is what the group policy. It is used to do what? To apply the changes more than one user or computer. Then the key elements of this configuration management are settings. Settings, that means the settings, the restriction, the policies which we configured. Then the scope. Scope means where these policies are going to be applied. That means which users, which computers and which groups it is going to be applied. It defines the scope of the policy. And application, that means how these policies are going to be applied. These are the key element of this configuration management. Now, if we want to manage the group policy or configure the group policy, so these are the tools we have. These are the tools we have which we can use to manage and configure the group policy. This is the group policy management console, where we can use to define, create and assign the policies. So it is we can open this group policy management console from administrator, these administrative tools, which is available in Server Manager. Then when we open the policy, we try to edit the policy. So we can edit the policy by using this console. It is group policy management editor. This editor create the policy for computers or users. So we have an option to configure the policies for computers. That means the policies which will apply on computers, on the client computers, and the policies which we want to apply on the users policy. Then there are some command line tools which we use to update the policy, like GP update. It is used to update the policies. And GP result is to check the policies. Check the policies, that which policies are applying on the client side. This command will run on the client side, so that if the policy, when we configure some policy and if it is not applying on the client side, by default it will apply very quickly. It will not take much time to apply the policy on the client side. But if it is taking some time, then we can do what? We can use GP update to policy, and to verify that which policies are applying on that particular client, we use GP result command. So these are the group policy tools which we can use. Then benefits of using the group policy. So group policy is a very powerful administrative tool, and you can use it to enforce various type of settings to a large number of users and computers. Now typically we use the GPU, the group policy object, to apply the security settings, manage the desktop application setting, deploy the application software, manage folder redirection, and configure the network settings. Now group policy object. In group policy object, what is it group policy object it is called? It is actually the object of group policy. Just like the user object, just like the group object, we have the group policy object also. That group policy object we create under the container of group policy. It is a container, and this group policy object is what? It is a container for for one or more policy settings. That means this is the object where we configure the policies, we create the policies in that object. It is like a container of the policies, and it is managed with the GPMC. GPMC, that means Group Policy Management Console. So we can manage these group policy objects from the Group Policy Management Console. It is stored in the GPU's container. So in the Group Policy Management Console, there is a container. This is the container which is where the group policy objects are stored. Then edited with the Group Policy Management Editor. So for editing these group policy group policy object, we use the Group Policy Management Editor, and it is applied to specific level in the ADDS hierarchy. So in our Active Directory domain hierarchy, where we have domains and then other container objects, so we applied this policy for the specific level, like we want to apply it to the whole domain, so we can apply it directly on the domain, or if we want to apply it on some specific container, OU container, then we can apply on that specific OU container. And then all the inside OU containers, like if you have one OU and inside that OU you have another OU and then another OU inside that OU, that means nested OUs. So it will apply on all the hierarchy of that OUs. Now the scope of the GPU, Group Policy Object Scope. The scope of the Group Policy Object is the collection of users and computers that will apply the setting in the GPUs. So you can use several methods to scope a GPU. That means link the GPU to a container such as an OU. So that will be the scope where the group policy object will be applied. That means all the settings which we have configured in that group policy object, it is going to apply it on that OU. Then we can filter by using the security settings. When we applied it on the container, when we applied on OU container, organizational unit, then we can filter that also. That means if we want that all the users in that container should not be applied with this policy, so we can filter it based on the security settings. In a security settings, we have an option to mention the security groups, that group which we want to apply the policy. Then also we can use the WMI filters also. That WMI filter we can define by the specific hardware setting or software setting. We can define that use these computers or these hardware or these software settings for the machine, and only apply this policy for that specific hardware or software. Then group policy preferences. These group policy preferences are also the policies, but you can filter or target the settings that you configure by group policy preferences within a GPU based on several criteria. So these are also the policies, but these created based on several criteria. Now overview of the group policy object inheritance. How these group policies will inherit, or we can say how it is going to be processed. These group policies are processed on the client computer in the following order. That means when we create the policy and when we apply it on the computer, we applied on the organizational unit or domain, then how it is going to be applied, how it is going to be processed. So if suppose the machine starts, so first machine do what? Machine applied the policy which is locally configured. That means we have, every machine has its own local group policy object. So whatever the policy it is applied on that group policy, it is going to be applied first. Then it will apply the site level group policy object. That means whatever the group policy we configured on the site, that particular site, that policy will be processed for that client. That means if the client is in particular site and that particular site has a policy, so that policy will be processed. So first local policy of the computer will process, then the site policy will be processed, then it is going to process the domain level group policy object. So whatever the policy which is configured on the domain, the whole domain, that means the policy which is going to be applied on whole domain, it is going to be processed third. Then after that it is going to process the organizational unit group policies. That means whatever the policy applied on the OU, it is going to process that. Then including any nested OUs, that means if any nested OUs are there inside that particular OUs, so it is going to be processed after one another. Like first top level OU will be processed, then second level OU will be processed, then third level OU will be processed. So this is the order of inheritance, that where the policies are going to be processed on a client side. Then group policy, client side, client services, client service and client side extensions. So group policy application process on the client side. That means when the machine group policy we configure on the server, on the domain controller, and the policy is going to be applied on the client machines and client users. So policies are going to be applied on the computers, the client computers, and also the users, the client users. Now group policy application process goes like this, like group policy client retrieve the policy first. That means the client will retrieve the policy object, then client downloads and caches the group policy object, and then client side extension process the settings. That means first when the client starts, the client machine starts, so it first retrieves the policies from the domain controller, and then it will download and caches the policies, and then whatever the settings we have configured on that policies, this client side extension's job is to process the settings and apply those settings. We have two settings, computer configurations which applied on only computers, and then the user configuration which applied on users. So if we apply the policy, or we apply the group policy on any OU or domain, then the policy which we configured for the computers, so all the policies will be applied on the computers which is under that OU or domain, and users policy will applied only on the users which is under that OU. The policy settings in the computer configuration node apply at system startup. That means whenever the system starts, these computer configurations, all the policies which we have configured for the computer, it is going to be applied. And then after every 90 to 20 minutes, it is going to be applied, it is going to be refreshed. That means it is going to refresh and check that whether there is no new policies are there or not. Then policy settings in the user configuration node apply at sign in. That means when the user sign into the system, the policy will be applied for the user, and every 90 to 20 minutes after thereafter. That means after 90 to 20 minutes it will refresh the user's policy also, or whenever the user logs in, the policies will be applied. Now new features for group policy in Windows Server 2016. So in Server 2016 it introduces a few changes and improvement to group policy. That includes the importing the following types of policy settings on Nano server. That means now in Server 2016 we have Nano servers also. So in Nano servers we have option to import these policies like registry settings, security settings, and audit settings. We have option, we can import the settings for these on Nano server. Then also including the Windows 10 administrative templates. Administrative templates where we can administrator the policies from Windows 10. Now implementing and administrating the GPUs. So first, what are the domain based GPUs? Domain based GPUs basically applied on the domain level. So it is going to apply on the domain level, and it is going to apply on all the objects inside the domain. Whatever the container we have in the domain, the policy is going to apply on every container, and that is called domain level group policy, domain based, or we can say domain level group policy. Now how we can do how we can create and apply the policies. So first, where the policies are stored. So when the group policy we create, group policy object, so these group policy objects are the objects which contains the policy settings. Then these policy objects stores content in two locations. So the content of these group policy objects are stored into two locations. First, it is stored in the ADDS, that means Active Directory, and provides the versions information. That means whatever the versions are there, like whenever it is updating, whenever we edit the policy, the version changes and it is need to be updated. So it provides the version information from the domain controller. It is stored in the domain controller in the group policy container of Active Directory. Then it is also stored into the group policy template. The group policy template, that means group policy templates, that means these policies template will be stored in this share folder, sysvol share folder, and that share folder share from the domain controller. And these share folders are available at it is share, so it is going to be available for every client, and you can access every client machine and can access this share folder. For that they can download and access the group policies. This container, these group policy templates provides the group policy settings. So whatever the group policy we create, the group policy object contains the policy settings, and it stores into two locations, that is the group policy container. It is under the Active Directory's domain services, and it provides the new versions information, that whatever the new information is there edited. And then group policy template, under the group policy template, which is available for client machine through the sysvolume share folder. This is the share folder which is available for clients, so that client can download and cache the policies, and that templates have all the policy settings. Now when we try to create the policy, so we will see one more thing, it is called starter GPUs. So when we try to create the policies, there are some starter GPUs are already there, but there are some starter GPUs are there, and we can also create our own, we can import the starter GPUs. These starter GPUs, what these starter GPUs are, it is actually a storage, it is actually a templates which contains the default settings. Default predefined settings are there. So these are the templates which have some predefined settings. Some of the templates will come by default with the domain controller, and if you want the other templates, more templates, then you can download the templates. You can export the templates from the other system, other domain, other policy objects, and then you can make it as a cap file, and then you can import it in the group policy management console, and that will be called like starter GPU. So when we try to create a new GPU group policy object, so we can use the starter GPU for the basic settings, like the settings will be there, and then we will add our new settings into it. So we don't have to configure those default things like default, or we can say predefined settings. This shows the administrative template setting on which new GPUs will be based, and then can be exported to .cap files. So if we have a one GPU configured, a fully configured GPU, so we can export it as a cap file, and then we can import it in another server or another domain as a GPU, starter GPU, through the group policy management console. Then we can do what? We can be imported into other areas of an organizations. So these starter GPUs are like a starter default templates, where the default where some configuration or settings are predefined, which we can use to design our own GPU object. Then common GPU management tasks. These are like you can manage the GPUs by using the group policy management console or Windows PowerShell also. And these are some of the options for the management of the state of the GPUs. Like we should do the backup of GPUs. So if you want that your GPUs are important, because you know in GPUs we have a lot of settings. We have. So if we configure the GPU, fully configure the GPU for our requirement, so we don't want to do it more and more, or we don't want to do it every time. If suppose you lose the GPU, or suppose you did some configuration, you changes some configuration, and now you wanted to have a same configuration which was configured previously, so it will be hard for us to restore that. So what we can do, we can back up the GPUs, and then what if something goes wrong, then we can restore the GPU also. These are the common tasks we do. Like we can also do copy the GPUs, and we can do what? We can copy it from one organization section, and then we can import it another way in another organization section. It is like exporting or importing. Then we can also delegating the administrative of group policy. That means we can delegate the administration of the group policy for some user also. Because if suppose the whole domain is managed by the only administrator, so it will be difficult for that administrator to manage and configure everything. So administrators do what? They divide the responsibilities to the second or third level administrators, so that they can also follow, they can also do something. Like for example, we have one OU and we want to delegate that OU responsibility for management of that OU to some administrator or some second, third level administrator. So we can do what? We can do delegation for the group policy object also. We can do the delegation of group policy related tasks that allows the administrative workload to be distributed across the enterprise. And you can delegate the following group policy tasks independently. That means creating GPUs, editing GPUs, then managing group policy links for the site and domain or OU, and performing the group policy modeling analysis in a domain or OU, and reading group policy result data in a domain or OU, and creating WMI filters in a domain also. Group policy process, group policy scope and group policy processing. Now, what are the group policy links? So after when you create the group policy, after you have a linked GPU, the user or computer in that container are within the scope of the GPU and including computers and users in child OUs. Now, GPUs we create under the containers, GPU container. There is a group policy container where we create the group policy objects. But we have to apply that group policy object also. So for applying that group policy object, we do what? We link that group policy object to any OU or domain level. So it is going to apply on that OU or domain level. That is what it is called GPU linking. In previous versions of Windows servers, there was no option to do this. There was no linking there. If we want to create the group policy for some OU, then we have to create it directly on that OU. I will show you that and how we can create the group policy. Now this is our domain controller, and in the domain controller, if you go to tools, so we will see here these Active Directory of the consoles, and here we have the group policy management console. So this is the group policy management console, and when you open this, so you will see first the whole forest. First it is showing the whole forest name. This is our root domain name. Then when you open this, it shows that domain, sites, both, and then here it shows two options. It is group policy modeling and group policy result. This option is for doing the troubleshooting and generating the report or managing. These two options is for troubleshooting. Now these two options says the domains and sites. So when you open the domains, it will show you all the domains we have in the forest. Right now we have only one domain, that is our root domain site.com. Then sites, under the sites it will show you all the sites. Right now it is not showing any site because we have only default site and we have not added any here. So if you want to see the sites, then you have to right click on it and then you have to select this show sites. Then it will do what? It will show you the sites also which is available here. Let me select this first. It shows all the sites available here. Now you want to see which sites, you can select. Right now we have only one site, that is default first site name. That is a default site and the default site name always be default first site name. I will select this and now we can see the site also. Now in the site we can apply the policies and also we can apply the policies on domain level. Remember how it is going to be processed. First, when the machine starts, so it will apply the local policies, then it will apply the policies which is on the site, that site which is that the machine is in the site. That means if the machine is in this site, So the policy of this site is going to be applied first, and then the policies which is applied on domain will be processed, and then it is going to process the OU policies. Right now we have only one site, that is the default one. Now under the domain, when we open the domain, you will see these containers here. Now what is it showing here? First it is showing the default domain policy. Now this policy is always there, this is default. So by default there is a policy and which is applied on the domain. That means this domain policy, this default domain policy is actually applying on whole domain. It is on the whole domain. Now next you will see the container called domain controllers. The domain controllers, it is actually OU. Then it shows the container of group policy object. This is the object, this is the container where we have all the group policy objects. Then we have WMI filters, where we have all the WMI filters object. And then we have starter GPUs, where we have all the starter GPUs. If you select this, it is not showing any starter GPUs here. But if you want to have, then you can select create the starter GPU folder first. So when you select this, it will create the starter GPU folder, and in that folder you see these two policies are there. These are, like we can say, sample policies. This group policy remote update for firewall port. Then this policy is for group policy reporting firewall ports. So these are for the ports. Then if you want to have more policies, then we can use this load cabinet.cap file, and we can load the .cap file if we have if we have exported from somewhere else. So you can browse and select the cap file. If you have, it is going to use the cap file. And if you want to save your policy as a cap file, then you can select this option, save as cabinet, and then you can import it in some other location of organization. Then in WMI filter, you will create the filter for the based on software and hardware, that where you are going to apply, where you want to apply the policies. You can create the filters here, and you can use these filters on your group policy object. Here you can create the filter, and then you can use the filter on that group policy objects. Then it shows the group policy object here. Under this group policy object, you have all the group policies. So whatever the group policy we create, we are going to create under this group policy object. Now when we try to apply the policy, so what we do, we actually link the policy to that domain or OU. For example, we can see here it is saying default domain policy. But if you see small arrow is here, it is showing that this is a link file. It is a shortcut link. It is not a real policy. It is not a real object. It is actually a link. So where is the real policy? Real policy is under group policy object container. That means here, this is the default domain policy. And this is the default domain policy which is applied on all domain. And this policy is here under the group policy object, but the link is created on this group is domain. That is why it is applying on the domain, but it is a link here. It is only a link, but the policy is located under the group policy object container. Then there is one more policy we have, default domain controllers policy. Default domain controllers policy, that policy is actually applying on all the domain controllers of this particular domain. And that domain policy, this domain controller policy is applied on this OU. It is called domain controllers. And here under this domain controllers OU, we can see the link of default domain controllers policy. Now we are not seeing any other container here, any other container which we have in our Active Directory domain. So if you go there in our Active Directory users and computers, so under the domain, we can see we have all these containers built in: computers, domain controllers, foreign security principal, managed service accounts, users. All the users by default is going to create here. So if we have any user, it is going to be here. Then we have used manage service account, foreign security principles, computer accounts will be here. Then built-in accounts are here. Then domain controllers accounts are here. There is one domain controller we have, and that domain controller is created under domain controller OU. But these other containers are not showing there. Why? Because these are not OU. These are not OU containers. Only this domain controllers container is OU container. So in group policy we can see only the domain control OU containers, and that is why we create the OUs so that we can apply the group policy objects on that OUs. So it is showing only this domain controllers container because this is the OU container. So if we want to apply the group policy for some users, then we have to create the OU for those users, and then we can apply the policy on that containers, on that container for those users. So right now it is not, we don't have any OU here, so it is not showing that OUs. So I will create one OU here. Right click on domain, new OU. Let's say based on the location I am creating this OU. So I have created this OU. Then I will create one more OU based on the location. Then we can create nested OUs. That means we can create inside OU, we can create more OUs. So I will create one more OU inside this OU. Users. I can create more OUs. Let's say sales users, accounts users. Then we can create more OUs. Marketing OUs. Like this we can create these OUs. Now these OUs which we created, now these OUs we can see on our group policy management console. So when you go to group policy management console, and I will do what? I will refresh this domain here, and now I can see all those OUs here. This is our OUs which we created. So when we create the OUs, so it is going to be show here under the group policy management, and from here what we can do, we can apply the policies on them. So if we want to create the group policy, so first we have to create the group policy. We will create the group policy under the group policy object container. Whether we don't create it here, it is going to be created under this group policy object container. And then we want to apply the policy, then what we can link the policy to those specific OUs. So OUs or even a domain, so it is going to be applied all the users and computers in that OU or in that in a domain. That means it is going to apply for all the domain objects, that is users and computers. Or if we apply the policy on a specific OU, so it is going to apply for that OUs, that means all the users and computers, all those users and computers will get that group policy applied. Now I want to create a policy for some users. So what I will do, I will right click on this group policy object container, and here I will select new. Now when I select new, so it gives me option to give the name for the policy. Like I'm creating this policy for Mumbai users. So I'm naming it as Mumbai users. Now we have the option here to select the source starter GPU. That means the predefined settings from the starter GPUs, we can use them. We can use the template, and then based on that template we can create our own policies. So we can drop down and we can select all the GPUs which is starter GPUs. Right now we have only these two GPUs, but if you like, then you can download more GPUs from other group policies management consoles. but right now we have only this, so we can see that options here. So when we have starter GPUs available, which is in this container, in the starter GPUs container, so all those GPUs will show here. These are like predefined templates which we can use to define our new policies. So I'm not using any starter GPUs, so I will go by this, and here we can see the Mumbai users group policy is created. Now this object is created, but right now it is not applying anywhere on this domain, because we have just created it, but we have not applied the policy to anywhere. Now what we want to do, we want to configure the policy, we want to edit the policy. For that we will right click on it, and then we will select the edit. Now when we select the edit here, it will open the group policy management editor, and in this group policy management editor we see the two options here: option for computer configurations and option for user configuration. Now remember, there are lots of policies are there, lots of policies are there, and for applying for some specific policy, you have to decide first that what you want to do. What you want to do, you have to decide first, and based on that you can search for the policy. Like for example, you want to do something like you want to apply some policies for users desktop. You want to apply the policy for the users desktop related policy. Now you know that what you want to do. You want to do the policy for the users desktop. Now users desktop, so you will go to users configuration, and then you will have policies and preferences. Preferences have different kind of filters for the policies, and these are the policies. Now when you go to policies, you have three options: software settings, Windows settings, and administrative templates. If you go to the computer configurations, you have in the policies same settings here. You can see both here under this side. So we can see here for the computer configurations, we have same software settings, Windows settings, and administrative templates. And for the user configuration also we have software settings, Windows settings, and administrative templates. But they are different. Software settings are same. It is used to install the software centralizedly. That means if you want to deploy any software from the domain controller, then we can use this software installation policy to install some softwares on the client machines. Suppose you want to give some software to the Mumbai users. So we will create the policy for the Mumbai users, and then we will use the software installation policy to install some software for that Mumbai users and apply the policy to that Mumbai OU. Then that software will automatically available for only this Mumbai users, not for the other users from the other OUs. So these policies are for the installation of softwares. It is called software deployment policies. Now for deploying the softwares, we need .msi file. .exe files will not work. .msi means Microsoft installer. So we need to have a file for the Microsoft installer. So if we have those softwares which is having .msi file, then we can use those software to deploy from this group policy. Then when we open the Windows settings here for the computer configuration, so these are different settings here. We have these different settings, and if we open the Windows setting from for users, then it is having a little different here. If you see here, we have scripts here, also, but they are different. The computer is in the computer configurations Windows setting, the scripts apply on startup and shutdown. That means we can configure some scripts that we want to apply either on startup of the machine or shutdown of the machine. That means it is for the computers, and this is for the users, and this is scripts for the users. That means we can design a script which is going to be run when the user log on or log out. So when the user log on, the script will be executed, or when the user log off, the script will be executed. So it is based on users, and this one is for the computers. That means computer start or shut down. Then we have here In a computer settings, we have deployed printer policy. That means we want to deploy a printer for them, so we can deploy the printer for these computers, but it is not available for users. It is available here, deploy printers for users. Then it is having the security settings here. Now under the security settings we have a lot of settings here, but here for the user configurations, there is security setting here, but when you select the security setting, you have only these two folders here. These folders are for the public key policies, define the public key policies and define the software restriction policy for the users. But in Windows, in computer configuration, when you select the security settings, it has a lot of policies here which is used to define a lot of things, and all those things are related to computer configurations. Then we have policy based quality of service option here. Same option we also have here for managing the quality of service and based on the policies. But in user configurations we have this folder redirection, and that is not available in computer configuration, because this folder redirection will do what? It will redirect the folder for users profile. That means these profile folders like desktop folder, document folders, picture, music, videos, favorite folders. It is going to redirect this folder to a shared location. It is used to configure these folders to have a shared location. That means whenever the user logged into any machine, whether it is logging to PC1, PC2 or PC3, it is going to have the same folder where we redirect. Suppose we redirect the desktop folder, so whatever it use on desktop, it keeps on desktop, it will get everywhere in the system, like everywhere in the domain. Whenever it is logging into PC1, PC2, PC3, it is going to have the same desktop. Now this thing is not available for computer configuration because it is not a computer configuration, it is basically for user configurations. Then last, for user and computer configurations, we have these administrative templates. So when you open the administrative templates, it defines the behavior of your system, that how the control panels will behave for the computer. That means any user logging. Now remember, computer configuration means when you configure policy for computer, so any user login, it will behave like that. And administrative templates we have for user configuration. We have control panel settings also here. Now this will remain for that particular user. That means if the user logged in for which user is having this policy, so it will work like this, and if other user log in, then it will work like another thing, like it will not work like that. So it will only apply for that user. Whenever that user log in, it will apply. When that user is not logging, if someone else is logging, then it is not applying. But when we configure the policy for the computer, then anyone login, it is going to be applied. Now for example, there is a lots of policies there. If you see here, all settings for computer configuration, administrative templates, you have all these settings for different things. If you select one setting here, it will show you the description here also in detail. Then for user settings also you have a lot of settings here. This is all settings, and it is divided by these categories here. If you want to go for control panel settings, then you will click on control panel and it will show only control panel settings. If you want to use the desktop setting, then you will click on desktop and it will show you desktop related settings. Now this desktop related setting is not available for computer configurations, because in a computer the desktop will not change, it will remain same. When the user logs in any other machine, the desktop may change. So desktop settings will move with the users. So these policies, users policies, are actually moving with the users, but computer policies will remain with the computers because computers are not moving. So if you want to apply some policy, so you have to first decide what you want to do, and based on that you go and search the policy, that whether any policy is there or not, which I want to do. There are lots of policies here, So we have to decide what we want to do, and based on that we will find the policy that what we want to do. So suppose I want to do something for the desktop, so I'm going to configure the user's desktop. So I will go to users configuration, administrative template. Mostly we configure administrative templates, all the settings we have in the administrative templates related to different restrictions and permissions. Let's say I want to go to desktop, I want to apply some policies on desktop, so I'll go to desktop here, and under the desktop we have these policies here. We have the policies to prohibit the user from manually redirecting profile folder, hide and disable all items on the desktop, remove the desktop cleaner wizard, hide the Internet Explorer icon, remove computer icon, remove my document, hide the network location, remove the properties from computer icon, remove the properties from document icon, remove the recycle bin. So there are lots of policies here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure some policies. So let's say I want to remove the recycle bin icon from the desktop, or no, I want to remove the recycle bin properties. Let me say remove properties from the recycle bin context menu. So I will right click on it and I want to edit this. So when you select edit the policy, it will open this. Now you see these policies are not configured. Now not configured, that means it is not applying. It is not applying, that means it is applying on the default state. When it is set to not configured, that means it is going to be applied in the default state. Remember, there is option here, enable or disable. Now when you try to apply the policy, you have to read carefully what it is saying here. It is saying remove properties from recycle bin context menu. That means the policy says that it is going to remove the properties of recycle bin. So when you right click on recycle bin, it will not show you any properties. Now if you enable the policy, that means it is going to do what is it saying here. If it is saying I am going to remove the recycle bin properties, so when you enable it, it is going to remove it. And when I say disable it, that means it is not going to remove the policy, remove the property. And that is what the default thing. So by default it is disabled because we can see the properties of recycle bin. That means this is our Windows 10 machine. I have logged in with the user account here, user 1, and when I try to see the recycle bin properties here, so I can see the property here and I can open the property here also. So I can see the property. This is the default thing. That means the policy says that allow the properties to be shown. Now when we disable this, that means it is also saying the same thing. That means it will allow the properties to show. But this is also default. That means whenever it is set to not configured, that means it is not like it is not applying. It is still applying in the default state. And default state says that the policy, the recycle bin properties, we can see the recycle bins properties. Now when we enable this, that means now we cannot see the properties. Now when you open this policy, you can see you have to read what it is saying. Based on that, you can decide you want to enable or disable. And then here you can add some comment also, comment so that you know that what you are doing and why you did this. Then it also shows you that supported on. That means it says at least Windows Server 2003 operating system or Windows XP Professional. That means this policy is going to apply only on these, at least these machines or higher. So this is actually the scope of the machine, like when we can say compatibility, where these policies are compatible. Then also it shows the detail here, that what it is going to do and what it is going to do if you enable the settings, and what it is going to do when you disable the settings. So it will give you the information here. So whenever you try to apply any policy, you should know that you should be careful that what the policy is saying, and based on that you should do enable or disable. and if you don't understand, then you should do what? Read these help here. And also you have to be careful about that policy is applying to which operating system. Now I have enabled this, that means I removed the policy, I have removed the recycle bin properties. Now I can apply more policies, like for example I want to remove the control panel related setting. So I will say I want to prohibit access to control panel and PC settings. So I don't want user to go and access the control panel or PC settings. It is saying prohibit the access to control panel and PC settings. So what I will do, I will enable this policy. Now it is at least need what? Windows Server 2000 machine, and this is what it is going to do when you enable or disable. So we have enabled these two policies here for the user configurations. Now when you done with the configurations, then you can close this, and then this policy is now edited. Now after editing the policy, it is not going to apply. You have to select the you have to link the policy to apply on some OU. So for applying the policy, what I will do, I will right click on the policy, and then I have an option here. I have to right click on the OU. I want to apply the policy here on this Mumbai OU. So I will right click on it, and then I have an option here to link an existing GPU. So first we created the policy on this group policy objects container. Then we go on to select the OU where we want to apply the policy and select link an existing GPU. Now if you want to create directly the OU, directly the group policy on the OU, then you can select this option. It says create a GPU in this domain and link it here. So it is going to still create the link, and it is going to create the link here, and it is going to create the policy on this group policy object. Now this is the new way to apply the policy. Previously what happens in previous versions of Windows, we have to create the policies on directly OUs. There was no group policy object containers. So if I want to create some policy, so I have to right click on the OU, and then I get the option to create the GPU. Now what is the drawback for that is, like if suppose I want to create one OU for this Mumbai, I want to create one GPU for the Mumbai OU, and I want to use a same OU for this Pune also, or some other OU also. If I want to use the same GPU group policy for Mumbai and also Pune. Now what I have to do previously, I have to create separate OUs. That means first I have to create OU for Mumbai, then I have to configure everything, then I have to create new OU for Pune also, and I have to create that, configure the OU also. But here what we have to do, we will create the OU here under the container, and then we can create as many as link we want. We can link this policy to multiple OUs. We can link it to Mumbai also, we can link it to Pune also, we can link it to any other OUs. So linking that OU, linking the group policy to OU, we right click, select link an existing GPU, and here it will show you all the group policy objects we have. We have domain controllers policy, we have domain policy, and we have created this also. So we can select this, and then it is going to apply here. We can see it is created the link. So what is the benefit of creating the link? We can apply on multiple OUs. Like for example, I want to apply this on the domain controllers OU also. There is one more is still there. I want to apply new OU or group policy also. So I will select and say link an existing on domain controllers. So we can link the policy to multiple OUs. We have linked it to Mumbai OU also, and we have linked it to this domain controllers also. And it is actually a link. That means if suppose I deleted the link, it is not going to delete the policy. So if suppose I deleted the link from here, I can right click on it and I can say delete it. Now when I delete it from this domain controllers OU, it is not deleting the OU, it is not deleting the group policy object. The group policy object is still there, and the link is also there for the Mumbai users. So these are how the links are, and this is the benefit of having the links. That means we can create multiple links for the policies, and we can remove one link from the policies group policy OU. It is not going to remove the policy itself. If we want to remove the policy, then we have to remove it from this group policy object container. Now we did apply the policy on this Mumbai OU. That means all the users in that Mumbai OU, this policy is going to be applied. All the Mumbai OUs, that means under the Mumbai, whatever the user we have, and under the Mumbai OU we have other OUs, and in that OU, if we have any users, all those users, this policy is going to be applied. So if you see, users will not show here. We can't see the users here. For that, we go to Active Directory users and computers. So under the Mumbai OU, we have one OU here. We don't have users, we have the OU here. And under the users OU, we have no users, we have the OUs here. Under the sales, we have user 1, and the marketings, we have user 2, and accounts, we have user 3. So the policy is going to be applied on all user 1, 2 and 3. Then we have one more user here under the Pune OU, that is user 4. Now for this user, it is not going to be applied because we have applied the policy on this Mumbai OU. It is not, we have not applied the policy on Pune OU. So it is going to applied only for the users which is under this Mumbai OU. Now let's see, we go to the Windows 10 and check. Now this is our Windows 10 client machine. I will go to other user and I will say I want to log in as a user 1. User 1 which is under the Mumbai OU. So user 1, and I will try to log in with that, and the policy is going to be applied on this user. Okay, I logged in as a user 1 here now, and this user is under the Mumbai OU, so it is going to be applied, the policy is going to be applied here for this user. Now I will try to see the recycle bin properties here, and you can see the recycle bin property is not showing here. Why? Because of the policy. The policy is applied here, and this user is not able to see the properties of recycle bin. Then one more policy we configured to prohibit the access of control panel. So if this user try to access the control panel, it is or even at settings, it is not going to access. So it will try to access the control panel here. This is the control panel. It says the operation has been cancelled due to the restriction in effect on this computer, and please contact your system administrator. So it is not able to open the control panel. It will try to access the all settings here. And again it is not able to access the setting. So it is not going to access the setting also because the policy is not allowing this user, the user from the Mumbai OU, to access the control panel or settings. Now I will try to log in with the user which is under the Pune OU, that is the different OU where we did not apply the policy, and that user is user 4. So when you logged into the user 4, it will not have that policy applied. So I will try to log in as user 4 here. Now this is user 4, and we logged in as a user 4. Now this user 4 belongs to the other OU where the policy is not applied. So when I try to access the recycle bin properties, I can see the properties and I can access the properties. Then if I try to access the control panel, So when I try to open the control panel, it is opening the control panel also, and it will also open the setting app, because it is not blocked for these users, that means the users from the Pune OU. So it is opening this also. So this is how we do what we applied the policy and block something from the for the user. We can restrict the users to access something. We can allow the users also to access something. So as we saw that how the policies are going to apply. Now this is how they are going to apply basically. And if suppose we have some policies are conflicting, so based on this policy processing order, those policies are getting the preference. For example, we configure some policy in local group policy object. Local group policy is available for every computer. So we go to the computer local group policy. We can open the group policy, local group policy, by using the gpedit.msc. So it will open the group policy of local user, local computer. It looks like same as the we open for the group policy object for the domain. So it is a group policy management console, the same management editor, and you can edit the policy for computers. You can also edit the policy for users, but it is going to apply only for that local computer. Now this is Windows 10 machine. If I want to use the local group policy, I want to see the local group policy, so I will open run. I say gpedit.msc, and it will open the local group policy management editor, which we can use, and we can use this to configure the policy for the local computer. And you can see it is the local group policy editor, and here you have the same computer configurations and user configurations, same as which we have in the domain, and all the administrative templates are also there, but this is only going to configure for the local system. Now when we do the group policy, when we see the group policy processing, so this order is important, because based on this order the policies are going to be processed. Now if suppose it is having a conflict, now if suppose we configure two policies here, 1 and 2 policy in local group policy, in local group policy editor. Now next it is going to, when the system starts, so it is going to apply these two policies first. Then on the site, when we configure the policy for the site, like we link the policy to the OU, same as we can link the policy to the site also. So if suppose we link the policy to the site, so that policy is going to be processed first. So the machine, if the computer is belong to this site, so the policies configured for the site will be processed. Now for example, we have configured 3 policies here, 1, 2 and 3. Now 2 policies are coming from local group policies, and then 3 policies are coming from the site policies. Then next it is going to process the domain policies. Now domain policies, we have configured the 4 policies here, 1, 2, 3 and 4 policies. Now on the OUs we have configured 1 policy here also. So the next it is going to configure, it is going to apply the policy which is we have configured on OUs. That means if any OU policy is configured, any policy is configured and linked to the OU, so that policy is going to be processed. Let's say we have configured 2 policies here. Then if we have more OUs there, and then those policies are going to be processed. Let's say we have configured 1 policy here on this particular sub OU. Now these are the processing order. But if suppose the conflicts happen, the conflicts, for example here on the domain policy, I have configured 1 policy to enable something. I said enable something. But on the OU, I have configured the same policy and I said disable that thing. Now here we have conflict. In the domain policy it is saying allow, enable, and in the OU policy it is saying disable. Now what is the resultant policy? Resultant set of policy will be this policy which is applied on the OU. So the final policy which is going to be applied for the computer will be these two policies will be applied. These two or three policies will be applied. From here, these three policies will be applied. Then after, actually the four policy will apply, but the next level it is going to apply the OU policy. So this enable becomes the disable. So the next level policy will be applied. That means this enable becomes the disable. So we can say this is not going to apply. It is going to process but not going to apply because it is conflicting with this other policy. So the next, these two policies will be applied. And then last, it is also not having any conflicts. So it is going to be applied. So finally in our computer, what policy is going to be applied? 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and this 11. This one will not be applied because it is having a conflicts. So you have to make sure the order, you have to know the order of the policies, how it is going to process, and based on that it is going to create the resultant set of policies. We call it resultant set of policy, the final policies which is going to apply. So if any conflicts we are having, so those policies will be applied. Those are the new, that means in the next on the order. So if it is in the third level, it is saying that domain policy saying enable, and OU, on the OU same policy saying disable. So the disable is going to be applied, enable is not going to be applied. So you have to consider the process also, the processing of the order the order of processing also when you are trying to apply some policies on OUs or domains or sub OUs. Then one more thing is called group policy inheritance and precedence. That is what I am saying here, that the application of the group policy linked to each container result in a cumulative effect called policy inheritance. So default procedures is like this: local, then site, domain, OU and child OU. That is, we can say easily LSD OU. So visible on the group policy inheritance tab, and it is also visible on the group policy inheritance tab. So when we check what is the resultant set of policies are applying, so we can see this in the group policy inheritance tab. Then link order, it is also going to be link order, that means attributes of the link. So lower number, higher on list, and precisions. Lower number, that means in the list you can see the lower number is higher precisions, and then this is least. Then it goes from lower number to higher number, that means 1, 2, 5. Then block inheritance. Now we can block the inheritance also. Like if suppose one policy is coming from the local group policies, or suppose one policy is coming from domain, we have applied some policy on domain, so it is going to apply on all the OUs, and it is also going to apply on all the child OUs. If we configure the policy on OUs, so it is going to apply on all the child OUs, because it is by default going for inheritance. But we have an option to block the inheritance also from the higher level. Then we can enforce the inheritance also. Now enforce inheritance, that what? It will override the block inheritance and enforce the GPU settings that win over conflicting settings in lower levels. Now for example, now what that means, we have configured the policy and we have applied for the Mumbai OU. Now we have second level, we have sub OUs, child OUs in that Mumbai OU also. We have users, then we have sales and marketing. These are the child OUs we have. And inside the child OUs, we have a different level of child OUs we have. So when we apply the policy on Mumbai, so it is going to apply on the all OUs. It is going to apply on sales, it is going to apply on accounts, it is going to apply on marketing also. Now we have users here. Under the sale we have user 1, and under the marketing we have user 2, and under this account OU we have user 3. So all these users will get the same policy because we have applied on this Mumbai OU, and it is inheriting to all the child OUs. So when we log into other users, like for example, I have logged in here as user 3. This is user 3. It is under the marketing OU, but it is under the accounts OU, but that OU is still under the Mumbai OU. So the policy is applying on this, and we cannot see the properties of recycle bin because the policy is applying on this OU also. This is what inheritance, and it is also going to, it is not going to show you that on user 1 also. So if I log in as user 1, it is also same policy is going to apply because it is inheriting from the top OU. So all the child OUs will go with that same policies. Now if I try to log in as a user 2 or user 1, I will see the same policy. Now when I try to check this, again I will not be able to see as I am logged in as a user 2, but user 2 is still under the same OU, same Mumbai OU, and user 1 is also under the same Mumbai OU. Now we can do what? We can block the inheritance also. What that means? We have applied the policy on Mumbai, it is going to apply on all. So it is going to apply on this user 1 which is under sales. There is a user under marketing which is user 2. I don't want to apply on this user, I don't want to apply that. I want to block the inheritance. So what I can do? I can block the inheritance for that OU. So what I can do? I will go on to group policy management console, and this is the OUs we have, and it is applying on all these OUs under the Mumbai user. This policy is applying on all the OUs. So what I will do here, I will say I want to block on this marketing, I want to block the inheritance. So what I will do, I will right click on it, and then I will say block the inheritance. Now this will do what? It will block the inheritance, and you can see this exclamatory sign. Now it is not going to apply for the users in marketing. The policies which we have configured in this Mumbai user group policy object, it is going to apply for all the users, but not going to apply on this marketing OU users. The marketing OU user, that means this user 2, it is not going to apply on user 2. So in this Windows 10, I will try to log in as user 2 and see whether it is having the policy applying or not. Now here we logged in as a user 2. I will try to see, and I can see the properties of the recycle bin now. Previously we logged in as a user 2, we are not able to see this, but now we can see this because the new policy, we have blocked the inheritance of the policy. That means now we can see the policy, we can see the property. The policy is not applying, it is blocking the inheritance. Now if suppose we block the inheritance, we can also do the enforcement also. Enforce the policy to the child OUs. Like if we have these OUs like child, these are the OUs, and the policy, if suppose there is a policy which we want to enforce to everyone, we want to enforce this policy to everyone, whether they are blocking the inheritance or not. Now if suppose we have multiple policies apply here on this Mumbai OU, for example we have 2-3 policies are there, but one policy is very important. I want this policy to be applied very important, like it is very important policy, and I want this policy should be applied to all the OUs and child OUs. whether they are blocking the inheritance like this for OU, whether they are not blocking the inheritance. This is the important policy and I want them to apply this policy. So on that policy we can do what? We can enforce the policy. Now whether they are blocking it or not blocking it, they will have to follow this policy. This policy is going to be applied on all the OUs, all the child OUs, because we are enforcing this. So this will do what? It will enforce. Now this time again the user 2 here in this marketing OU, they are blocking the inheritance, but still the policy is going to apply here because we have set for enforcing. This setting we do use when we have multiple policies applied on the OU and we want some policy which is important and we want the policy to be applied to every OUs and child OUs, whether they are blocking or not. Now if there are some other group policies also there which is not enforcing, so they will not be applied here on this marketing OU because this is blocking the inheritance, but this OU, this group policy is going to be applied here because it is enforcing. Now I will try to log in as a user 2 again. It was blocking the inheritance, but because we have forced the policy, then the policy is going to be applied on this user also, whether it is blocking or not. Okay, now I will try to see the properties again, and now again I am not able to see the property as user 2 because the policy which is blocking this recycle bin property is now enforced, and it is enforcing on all the OUs and child OUs. So we can block the inheritance. By default it is going to be inherited, and we can block the inheritance also if the child OU does not want to process the higher level OUs. Then also we can enforce the policies so that it is going to be applied whether they are blocking or not. Then also we have option to process the user security filtering to modify the group policy scope. Scope defined that where the policies are going to apply. So we can do what? We can filter the policies. We can apply the group policy permission based on the filters. Like we can do what? We can use GPU as it is an ACL, and we can delegation tab. We can go to advanced and we can select members of the authenticated users group have allow group policy permissions and default. So by default, first if you want to delegate the permission to some other users for the policy, that which the policies are going to be managed by the other users, so we can do it by the delegation tab. Then we can define the scope only to the users in selected global groups, and remember, only for global groups. So we can create the security groups, security global groups, and then we can add those groups there. So that first we have to remove the authenticated users group, and then we can add the appropriate groups, so that only those groups will be applied the policy and other groups will not be applied the policy. This is what we can do the filters. We can do the scope to users except for those in selected group. We can use the delegation tab in advance. We can add the appropriate global groups to deny and apply the group policy permissions. So for example, here when we select the group policy object here, you can see the options here. It is showing here the username, it is showing the scope. Scope, that means the policy is applying on which OU. We can see it is applying on Mumbai OU. Then it is showing here the security filter. Security filter decides that which users or group this policy is going to be applied. Then we can go to delegation tab here, where we can define that which users are going to use. These groups and users have the specified permission for this OU. By default, you can see the authenticated users are there, and that means these users can do what? Read from the security filterings. So they can read it. We can add any other users here. Like for example, I am adding the user 4 here. User 4. You can give these permissions. You can give the permission to read, and you can give the permission to edit the setting. You can give the permission to edit settings, delete, modify, and security. So these are the options. These are the delegation permissions you can give to specific users or group. Instead of giving to the users, we can create the groups and we can give the permission to groups. We can see the detail here about the policy, group policy object which we created. Then also we can see the scope. Let's say for example I want to filter based on the security groups. So I can do that, and I can do that by adding the specific group. Let's say I will create one group here. And remember, it is only support the global groups. So I will say create security and global groups. Now in this group, I will make members user 1 and user 3. Now that means this group has only two users, user 1 and 3. Then what, I will go on to this group policy management console. Here it is saying that policy should be applied to who? Authenticated users. Now authenticated users, that means every user in the domain which do use the authentication, that means username and password. So I will remove this and I will say I want to apply the policy to only this specific group users. Now that means what, this policy is applied on this domain OU. Now under the OU we can have a lots of users here, hundreds of users, but the policy is going to apply only for those two users. It is not going to apply for everyone. It is going to apply for only those two users which is mentioned in, which is the member of this group. So this is what we can do the filtering, and this is how we can do the filtering, and this is what users, only those users which is member of this group is going to apply this policy, and any other user which is not a member of this group is not going to apply the filter. There is the same way we can use this WMI filter also. So we can delegate the settings permission to any user. That user can manage and see the properties, see the group policies, read the group policies, group policy object. Then also we can define the scope by adding the appropriate groups. So only those group members will have the policy, will apply the policies. Then same as the user group, the group filtering, we can use the WMI filtering also. This WMI is like a queries, and it can filter the GPU based on the system characteristics including RAM, processor speed, disk capacity, IP addresses and operating system versions. So if suppose we are applying the policy on the OU where we have multiple different computer accounts, that is for the computers, this is basically for hardware, and we have in that OU where we are applying the policy, we have multiple computer accounts. So we can define the filtering based on these hardware requirements. Like if we say that if the RAM is 4 GB, then only the policy must apply. If the processor speed is something, or disk capacity is available something, or if the IP address is defined something, then only the policy should apply. Or maybe define the operating system. If you have Windows 10 here, 8 here, 7 here, you have a Vista here, so you say only Windows 10 should apply, then it is going to apply only for Windows 10 or some specific version. For example, this is the example for the query that written in the query language, that is for example it is saying select star, that means anyone from the Windows 32 operating system. This is the operating system category, we can say, where the version is like this 10 point any. So any operating system of Windows 32 32-bit, that is, it need to be what, a version 10 point something. So the policy is going to apply only for them. These WMI filters can be expensive in terms of group policy processing performance. It will put an impact of the processing performance. So it will apply slowly, and it can make the application slowly, but we can use this to filter out some operating systems. So first what we have to do, we have to create the filter, and for that we have to go to this tab, container, WMI filter container, where we create the filter. We name the filter like this, then we can add and we can add the namespace, like we want to add the namespace like sim version 2, and then based on that we can add the query, and then we saved it. Now when we save this, then this policy, this filter will be available in that tab, in the tab of this filtering tab, in this filtering tab. Right now it is not showing any, so first you have to go here and then you have to add new here. So you have to name here for what you want to add, and then you can add description also. Then here you can add what you want to add. You have browse, you can browse for different hardware characteristics here. Then you can add the query here. This is like I'm adding it for Windows 32. Syntax error. Okay, corrected the syntax and then save it. So we created this policy WMI filter. Now what, when you go on to use it for the policy, so you select the policy and here you can decide which filter you want to apply, and you can select the filter. So it says, would you like to change the WMI filter to Windows 10? I say yes. Now only the filter, based on the filter, this policy is going to be applied. If the filter does not matches, then the policy is not going to be applied. Then sometime we can do what? We can just disable the policy. We can also disable the policy, and we can do also more things, like we can disable only for the computer configuration, or we can disable for the user configurations. So if there is a policy there and we want to disable the policy, so we can just disable the policy also, and we can disable based on user and computer configuration. And that we can see here under the group. This is the scope we have, and under the detail we can see the detail of the policy, and here you can see the status of the group policy. By default it is enabled, but you can select it to disable all settings. That means all the settings will be disabled, no settings will be applied. Whether it is linked to any OU, it is not going to apply. Or we can select it to disable the computer configurations. That means only the computer configurations will be disabled, only the user configurations will apply. Or we can disable the user configurations. That means only computer configurations will apply and user configurations will be disabled. Or we can select it to enable. By default it is enabled. Then all the policies, all the configuration policies will be applied. Then one more thing is there, it is called loopback policy processing. This loopback policy processing provides the ability to apply the user group policy settings based on the computer to which the user is signing in, and replace, it is having these different mode, replace mode and merge mode. Now this is useful in closely managed environment and special use computers such as terminal servers, public use computers and classrooms. Basically what happens when the machine starts, so first the computer policy is applied and then the user policy applied based on the user logs in. So first the computer policy is applied here, and then when the user logs in, that user's policy applied here. But user's policies are not a computer policies. Computer policies, that means it remain fixed here. If it is applying on this computer, then it's computer. It is not moving from one computer to other computer. But users policies are actually moving with the users. If the user logs in here, it will apply different policy, it will apply the same policy, and if the user logs into other computer, so it will apply the same policy for the user on that other computer also. Now we want to set the user policy as a computer policy. That means the user policy, some of the user policies are configured as a computer policy. So if the computer is in that OU, then it is going to be processed the computer user policy as a computer policy. But when the user, that means the user policy will apply here differently, and when the user goes on to log into the other machines, it will apply differently. So suppose the machine is located in the terminal server, or it is located for the public use for the computers, or in the classroom. So we want them to process same. When the user logs into those machines, they will get the, like for example, the same desktop they want to get. So I want the desktop should be same whether the user logging, any user is logging on that machine. But the desktop setting is for users. The desktop setting is not for the computers. So we can use this loopback processing, that desktop setting will apply as a computer settings. So it is having two modes, replace mode, like only the list of GPUs based on the computer object is used, and merge mode, that means the list of GPUs based on the computer have higher precedence than the list of GPUs based on the users. In replace mode, only the policies of computers will apply, users policies are not applied, that will they will apply as a computer. And merge means it will use the computer policies first and then users policy will be second. Now how we can use this? We can go on to enable the policy in that, in the same policy object we have to edit the policy. In that we have this policy called group policy, this configure user group policy loopback processing mode, and we just have to enable this policy. It is under the administrative template system. Under the system it is having the policy for group policies. In that we have this policy, we just have to enable this policy. And here we have to decide that the policy is used to be replace or merge mode. That means I want to use this policy for the group policy loopback processing. So I will go on to this policy and I will go on to edit the policy, and under this administrative templates we have system, and under the system we have this group policy option. Under the group policy option we have this option to select so this is the policy, configure user group policy loopback processing. When you open this, it shows here not configured. You can select and you can select the mode you want to configure, and it will start group policy loopback processing also. Then also we have to consider for the slow link or disconnected system. If suppose the client machine is connected with the slow link, then the policy processing will take time. Now slow link detection will do what? By default connection speeds below 500 kbps, that will be considered as a slow link, and the following client-side extension apply by default. So client-side extension, that means the security settings and administrative templates will be applied by default if you have the slow links. Then and disconnect computer, that means if the computer is not connected with the domain controller. So cache group policy, and so that settings still apply, that means the group policies are also cached, so the settings will still apply, and perform the group policy refresh when the reconnecting with the domain network if a background refresh has been missed. Now it is going to refresh automatically, but if it is not refreshing, then we can use the gp update command to refresh the policies. Then identifying when settings become effective. So when the setting become effective, when GPU replication must occur. So for me, the setting must be effective when the GPU the group policy replication must occur, and group changes must replicate. Then group policy refresh must occur. User must sign out and sign in, or the computer must restart. So if the policies are not applying properly, then you have to refresh the policies, and you should do what? Sign out and sign in, or even you can do the restart also. You must perform a manual refresh, and most client-side extension do not reapply unchanged GPU settings. So if suppose the GPU settings are not changed, so they will not do unapply those things, reapply those things. Now if you want to refresh these settings from the client side, we do what? We use the GP update option. So if the policies are not applying properly, we can do what? We can re-log in, we can do restart, or if you don't want to do that, then we can do what? We can use the command GP update. GP update, and it is going to do what? It is going to refresh the policies. And for that, your machine must be connected to the domain controller. It is saying refresh successfully. We can do what? We can refresh forcefully also. If it is not doing, then we can also do what? We can add the option log out, log off. Now that means what? If any policy need to be log off, that means some policies are there which is need you to log out and log in. So it will do it automatically when you run this command. Then some policies need to be reboot your system. You configure the policy and the policy must apply only when you reboot the system. So you can give this option also. So it is going to reboot the system also while updating the policies. So that means if it is doing forcefully update, it is log out and log in if it is needed, and if it is needed reboot to apply some policy, refresh some policy, then it is going to reboot the system also. So there is no policy which is need to be log out or reboot, so it is not rebooting my system, not logging out my system, and it is updating the policy. So this is what the group policy is and how we can implement the group policy, and how we can see this group policy from the client side, and this is how it is, and it is how it is going to process the group policies. Also we saw the inheritance. We can block inheritance, we can force the inheritance, and how the inheritance works.